I think for the second video that I do, I'm going to go ahead and just read from Proverbs because I'm just rejoining like a ladies' Bible study that I've was part of like 3 months ago, I want to say. And I started off really strong and I was like doing it every day, but then I kind of fell back a little bit. So now I want to get back into it. And now we're picking back up. They're at Proverbs now, so they've already gotten a lot of the way through, and I missed quite a bit in there, so I'm gonna have to go back and catch up. But now I'm gonna hop in Proverbs. I'm gonna try to like really be on it with my Bible studies, and I think I might like read one or two of these each day, like of my Bible studies to you, as kind of a way of like my whole purpose right now is to be able to get on the camera and get comfortable speaking and kind of like let you guys get to know me a little bit as I get to know you, and yeah, just share. So I think a good place to start is by sharing my Bible studies, because that's definitely something that is like biblical and approved, by Christ, and that's something that I've been, that's kept me from maybe sharing more, because I am coming from a New Age background, like a 7-year New Age background. So I want to be like careful not to share things that would like upset the Lord. So I know that in sharing like the Proverbs and sharing the Bible, that's not going to upset him. So bear with me that I'm still like new in my sharing, and I know that so many of you are like so much farther ahead as prophets in sort of the messages that you receive. But this is my way of like building to that. Like sometimes I do receive like relevant messages, but I'm not at the point where I feel comfortable putting them out there. So this is a necessary step in my path, I think. So hopefully you support that and understand. So I'm going to read maybe 2 Proverbs tonight before bed. We'll do, because this is what they were on. I didn't just randomly choose this. This is what today's reading was. It was Proverbs, wait, it was Proverbs 30 through 32, I believe. Okay. So, sayings, and then we can do a little discussion after each of them. Sayings of Agar. The sayings of Agar, son of Jakeh, an inspired utterance. This man's utterance to Ithiel. I am weary, God, but I can prevail. Surely I am only a brute, not a man. I do not have human understanding. I have not learned wisdom, nor have I attained the knowledge of the Holy One, who has gone up to heaven and come down, whose hands have gathered up the wind, who has wrapped up the waters in a cloak, who has established all the ends of the earth. What is his name, and what is the name of his son? Surely you know. Every word of God is flawless. He is a shield to those who take refuge in him. Do not add to his words, or he will rebuke you and prove you a liar. Wow, this is good. I think I actually needed to read this one tonight. This is actually really good. And this goes for like kind of anyone coming from the New Age, like me too, like, and we're used to sort of leaning on our own understanding in things and putting things together in our own minds and hearts about like, making sense of life. But the truth and the wisdom are here in the Bible, so we really do need to like saturate ourselves with that. And yeah. Wow. Every word of God is flawless. He is a shield to those who take refuge in him. Do not add to his words, or he will rebuke you and prove you a liar. 2 things I ask of you, Lord. Do not refuse me before I die. Keep falsehood and lies far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. Otherwise I may have too much and disown you. Wow. And say, who is the Lord? And I may become poor and steal, or I may become poor and steal, and so dishonor the name of my God. I love that. I love that line. We could go over that right now. That's really good. So, 2 things I ask of you, Lord. Do not refuse me before I die. Keep falsehood and lies far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. Otherwise I may have too much and disown you, and say, who is the Lord? Or I may become poor and steal, and so dishonor the name of the Lord. That's amazing. Now I'm just going to let you guys receive that however you receive that. Do not slander a servant to their master, or they will curse you, and you will pay for it. Do not slander a servant to their master. That reminds me of when you slander like a child of God to God, like when you bring false accusations about a child of God to God in your prayers, when you pray against a person, or when you bring false accusations to the courts of heaven, you're kind of you're slandering like a servant of God to that servant's master, which is God, like to the Father, There are those who curse their fathers and do not bless their mothers, those who are pure in their own eyes and yet are not cleansed in their filth, those whose eyes are ever so haughty, whose glances are so disdainful, those whose teeth are swords and whose jaws are set with knives, to devour the poor from the earth and the needy and from among mankind. Wow. I have definitely come across those people. There are those who curse their fathers and do not bless their mothers. There are those who are pure in their own eyes, narcissists, and yet not cleansed in their filth. Those whose eyes are ever so haughty, whose glances are disdainful. Those whose teeth are swords and whose jaws are set with knives, to devour the poor from the earth and the needy from among mankind, who see others as lower than them, who look down on others. The leech has 2 daughters. Give, give, they cry. There are 3 things that are never satisfied, 4 that never say enough. The grave, the barren womb, land, which is never satisfied with water, and fire, which never says enough. Interesting. There are 3 things that are never satisfied, 4 that never say enough. The grave is never satisfied. The barren womb is never satisfied. Land is never satisfied, which is never satisfied with water. And fire, which never says enough. Fire is all-consuming. That makes sense. The eye that mocks a father, that scorns an aged mother, will be pecked out by the ravens of the valley, will be eaten by the vultures. The eye that mocks a father, that scorns an aged mother, will be pecked out by the ravens of the valley, and will be eaten by the vultures. There are 3 things that are too amazing for me, 4 that I do not understand. The way of an eagle in the sky, the way of a snake on a rock, and the way of a ship. Oh, I love this. This was like the title of a book that I saw in a coffee shop once. The way of a ship on the high seas, and the way of a man with a young woman. This is the way of an adulterous woman. I don't know why it says a man with a young woman. Anyway, okay. But this is the way of an adulterous woman. She eats and wipes of her mouth and says, I have done nothing wrong. She eats and wipes of her mouth and says, I have done nothing wrong. Under 3 things the earth trembles. Under 4 it cannot bear up. A servant who becomes king, a godless fool who gets plenty to eat, a contemptible woman who gets married, and a servant who displaces her mistress. A servant who displaces her mistress. Okay. 4 things on earth are small, yet they are extremely wise. Ants are creatures of little strength, yet they store up their food in the summer. Hyraxes are creatures of little power, yet they make their home in their crags. So this is like creatures of little power that are extremely wise. Locusts have no king, yet they advance together in their ranks. A lizard can be caught with the hand, yet it is found in kings' places. There are 3 things that are stately in their stride, 4 that move with stately bearing: a lion, mighty among beasts, who retreats before nothing; a strutting rooster, a he-goat, and a king secure against revolt. And that's who God is calling us to be as chosen ones. If you play the fool and exalt yourself, or if you plan evil, clap your hand over your mouth, for as churning cream produces butter, and as twisting the nose produces blood, so stirring up anger produces strife. Sayings of King Lemuel. The sayings of King Lemuel, an inspired utterance his mother taught him. Listen, my son, listen, son of my womb. Listen, my son, the answer to my prayers. Do not spend your strength on women, your vigor on those who ruin kings. Goodness. I think that's... Okay. It's not for kings, Lemuel. It's not for kings to drink wine, not for rulers to crave beer, lest they drink and forget what has been decreed, and deprive all the oppressed of their rights. Let beer be for those who are perishing, wine for those who are in anguish. Let them drink and forget their poverty, and remember their misery no more. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. I love that. That's definitely something like I'm an advocate of. An epilogue, the wife of noble character. A wife of noble character, who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She is like the merchant ships, bringing her food from afar. She gets up while it is still night. She provides food for her family and portions for her female servants. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earrings she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her tasks. She sees that her trading is profitable, and her lamp does not go out at night. In her hand she holds the distaff, and grasps the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor, and extends her hands to the needy. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings for her bed, and she is clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies the merchants with sashes. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household. She does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also. He praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive, and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her work bring her praise at the city gate. Okay. So I love that. That was perfect. That was the last part of Proverbs, but I might go back and do like the beginning section in the next few, just because I love Proverbs, and we happen to be on the last 3 tonight in my Bible studies class, so I wanted to read those for you. But I will be back tomorrow with more, and hope you guys enjoyed that. Talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.